with the educated opinion on topics of all varieties. This your boy Bubba, and you already know what I'm about to say, right? You are listening to Bubba's Banter. Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your motherfucking boy. I ain't gotta say no names, right? But I am anyways. It's your boy Bubba, and you are watching and also listening to Bubba's Banter. I hope you guys are living well, feeling well. I am doing okay. I'm actually a little bit under the weather, I'm not gonna lie. For some reason, every year I get this little common cold that lasts for like 2 days. And it's nothing like crazy, no like body aches or anything. I'm just like, I feel exhausted and a little dehydrated, nose sniffles and shit. But I feel like extremely exhausted. Like, I don't want to do nothing. I just want to sleep. My energy is extremely low. Like, honestly, I wasn't even gonna do this podcast because I was so fucking tired. And I was like, I can't keep fucking with my folks. I gotta produce something, right? But y'all understand. Shit, if I said no podcast, y'all be understandable. So I ain't even tripping. But I feel good enough right now to where I can record. So it is what it is. But yeah, for some reason, maybe it could be like the AC flu, because it has been like, because you know what the AC flu is when like your AC is too low and outside is it's not hot enough for your AC, right? That's kind of how it feels right now. Or that's how it felt, because I started noticing like on Sunday or Monday, I started noticing something like my body was not feeling good, and I was like, it was like 62 outside, and my AC was on like 60 or something like that. I know my ice room for like an ice box where my heart used to be. Like, it was like, that's how it felt like when you walked in my room. It was like icy. For real. Because I cannot sleep with my room being super hot. Like, but I also don't like my room to be too cold. Sometimes like it needs to be like a comfortable like temperature for me to like fall asleep. So yeah, I'm just grateful for AC, because this summer was hot and I was not gonna be sleeping without one. There was no fucking way. But yeah, so it could be that too. So I just gotta regulate my AC levels and make sure, maybe put on a dry setting, just to like keep my room from being like cold, but like, lukewarm, I should say. Make it to where I'm comfortable sleeping. So yeah, definitely that. But anyways, so tonight we are going to be talking about desirability. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. I was trying to have somebody come on my show and talk about it with me, but people be busy, so I ain't trying to like bother nobody's schedules. But y'all gonna banter with me today? Y'all gonna banter with me? Let's banter then. So desirability. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Desirability, how it shows up in my life, friendships, relationships, work, everything, right? Just everything. Like, I've really been thinking about desirability and who gets desired and who doesn't get desired and why they get desired, and how do I get desire? Like, I started thinking about desire on so many different levels, but I really got deeper into the conversation of desirability is when I was watching the Olay and Friends podcast with Laverne Cox. There's this non-binary black person on there, and they wrote this book called The Belly of the Beast, which I haven't got yet, but I'm going to get soon. And I want y'all to hear their words right quick.
So I am going to intellectualize your dick and everyone else's, because that is what is real about the world. And so I'm not going to like downplay that, right? Desire is just as real of a structure as anti-blackness. It's just as real of a structure as cis-sexism, and it overdetermines how we navigate the world and how we experience the world. I'm not going to, pretend like that's not true. So what I am saying is that because of how we desire and what we desire, it plays a significant role in who we see as lovable or capable of giving us love. And that overdetermines how we experience the world, right? That is just bottom line true. A lot of trans folks don't want to date other trans folks. A lot of folks don't want to date fat folks. A lot of folks don't want to date dark skinned folks. A lot of folks don't want to date, disabled folks. Like the list goes on and on and on and on and on. That is very true for what people desire and do not desire. So what I'm saying is that it is quite possible that you never arrived to a conversation about this person's politics because what you saw was enough for you to not even have to consider that, to not even arrive to a conversation about his politics because you desired him, because he was this blonde, blue-eyed white man who who represented something that you wanted. And what is also true is that for many of us, we are indoctrinated into wanting things that we should not have, or that we know represent our oppressors. That is just bottom line true. It's why we continue to have conversations.
Listen, that was a whole ass word there. And I agree with them a lot. It made me really think about my own desires, you know. So like what we're doing here today is desirability, attraction, and the unspoken rules that, you know, about who is invisible and who's visible. So yeah, again, this is not about dating. I'm not going to talk about dating, or at least I'll try to stay away from it. But it's about how society gets decides who gets to get love, who gets respect, who gets safety, and who, you know, gets a little extra flirting in their DMs, I guess you would say. You know, who gets treated like they're lucky to even be in the room is another thing too. And I got some opinions and I got some things that's on my mind today. And if you're already like probably, you know, clutching your shirt because you probably think it's about you, fucking keep them clutched, boy. The shit just might be about you. No, I play. And so when I talk about desirability, I'm not talking about who gets swiped on the dating apps, right? I know I said I wasn't gonna talk about dating. I swear I'm not, but I'm just using that as a reference. You know, or should I say it's not about who get woofed on the apps the most, right? It's not about that. But it's about in gay terms, I should say. But it's like about who gets ranked. Who gets ranked like quietly but consistently. You know what I'm saying? Because I think we all have seen it when we walked into a club. We're in a club at the bar and we see someone walk in and they just get this like, you know, the stares, the looks, you know, the hugs, the tugs, all that shit, right? And you think to yourself like, damn, this person is probably a very desirable person because, hey, this is what it is. And you know, the wild part too is like some people won't admit this. They won't admit it and say, oh, or they'll say, oh, that's just my type. And it's like, but you know, your type didn't just come out of nowhere. It's been shaped by the media, by social media, things that we see, culture. It's those silent little messages about what's hot and what's not. And we don't want to fucking, you know, come to terms with that. It's the truth. It's not about romance, and I have to like it's not about even about romance or sex, I should say, because I think everyone, when people thinks about desirability and they think about attraction, they think about sex, and it's not about that. It's really about who gets desired the most. You know, who is desirable enough to get invited to all the events, all the parties, get put on flyers, you know, get offered opportunities, you know, who's seen as a leader. It's this unspoken hierarchy that we just don't want to admit that's there, but it's there because it spills into everything in almost every area of our lives at most times. And like, I know some of you guys are probably watching this or listening to this and being like, why does this matter, right? Why does this matter? That's the first thing I always ask myself anytime I write a motherfucking podcast is I always ask myself, why does this topic matter and why do you want to talk about it? The reason why I think this matters the most to me, or something that does matter, I don't want to say the most, but something that matters, right? Especially right now in just our society. For me, it comes down to the three things that I know to be true, and they could be just my truths, but you know, these are things that I know that are true, you know, because I lived almost all three of them. One, it's political, whether we like it or not. When certain people get to live, love, and move without fear while others have to tone it down to be safe, that's fucking crazy. That's not attraction, that's power. Two, it shapes the way we see ourselves in the world. I remember a time when I came out how I was just erasing so much of myself to fit in with people. Like I had to dress a certain way. I had to look a certain way. Let me lose a bit of weight. Let me put on some muscle. Let me do all these things to be desired. And then they will finally like me. They will finally want to be with me or want to fuck with me. I literally started erasing so much of myself to be a part of certain communities, and especially in the gay bear community. I started erasing so much of myself to fit in, and I hated it. Three is about breaking systems. Yes, breaking the systems. It's not about self-esteem. It's not just about self-esteem. It's about breaking the systems, bro. Like, we could talk about confidence and having confidence all day, but it's not just about that. It's not about hyping yourself up in the mirror. It's about dismantling systems that fucking says who is worthy and who isn't worthy. It's about saying, no, I don't have to fit into someone else's life's vision board to be deemed worthy, right? Because this is my motherfucking life. And there's also something that I want to talk about too, which is the uh shit, what I call it, the price of admission. I know, a crazy thing to say, right? But it's fucking true, the price of admission, because I think most of us have done it. The price of admission is like that thing you got to do to be let into like the desire club, to be seen, I guess. And I think some people will go out their way to change their body, the way they look, they facial, like even surgical things to their face, getting steroids to have a different size and muscle and all that shit, not me. It's all natty, baby, natty, natty, natty. Anyways, people go out their ways to, um, do these things, even changing their personalities, like code switching. And I'm a code switching professor. Like I'm a code switching professor, baby. I have code switched a lot of times in my life. I know for a fact. And, just hiding parts about themselves. And, it comes down to the fact of I did this a lot of the times to feel, or to be more, I should say, palatable in certain settings so I can fit the vibe, right? So I can fit in. So, I can be seen, people will notice me. And I think a lot of us do that, gay, straight, whatever. We all do it. And I think it's getting to a point where, isn't that shit exhausting? Like I really have gotten to a point now where I want to show up authentically in every room I step foot in, regardless of how uncomfortable it is. I want to be myself 100%. You know what I'm saying? I hide and shrink myself to hide certain things that I deem unperfect, or uh, not necessarily I'm ashamed of, but just like I don't feel like fits the vibe or fits the mold. And so yeah, I stand out, but sometimes I don't feel like standing out is always great. And that's a me thing. I'm working on it. I'm in therapy, baby. Therapy's great. But it's just something that you kind of notice. Like even, you know, um, it shows up in friendships. Desirability shows up in friendships. It's the person who gets text to go to parties, the person who, gets tagged in a group photo, the person who gets their Instagram hyped up, uh, who gets invited to brunch. Did I say brunch already? It's not about romance, and I'm pretty sure y'all not paying attention to that part. But it's really not about romance. It's just about desire, and how sometimes your friends may not desire you as much as they desire the other person, because you know some will say it's attraction, but no, it's really desire. So yeah, let's talk about desirability versus attraction. Um, Attraction is definitely biological in my eye. Some people will say it's not, but I think attraction is, and you can't help it. Sometimes it really is an unconscious feeling that you feel when you see somebody super attractive. Shit, because I know for me, when a big bald daddy walk into the room, my eyes be like, my shit be, I be like, ugh. I mean, like I get excited when a sexy ass daddy walk in the room. Like, oh my god, um, fuck, I'm getting excited now. But anyways, yeah, like when they walk into the room, you just your heart started beating, eyes started gazing, motherfucking, they just make you feel a certain way. You can't help that. I agree. Like you can't help that. Like I've had some men that walk into a room and baby, I'm just like, oh, I want you so bad. I want you so bad. I want everything about you. But again, I think that is biological itself. It's instinctual. It's something that you feel. You know what I'm saying? It could be messy because I'm telling you right now, there's some people I saw walk into the room, but they're probably like shitty ass people. Definitely have, but here's the catch. Desirability is what decides whether or not that attraction is socially valid. So, or even allowed, I should say. Like, just think about it. Because I know a lot of people have done this. You know what I'm saying? You see a dude that's super fucking hot. Face card is a 10. Body might be like an 8 or a 9 to you, or maybe even a 10 to you. But to society, his body is a 3. Because he's obese, you know what I'm saying? And he got man boobies and his butt is really big and you know what I'm saying? He smell good. I'm sorry, I'm lusting right now. But you know what I'm saying? But to society, he's a 3, right? And then you'll start feeling all shameful and scared and like confused and want to hook up with him in secrecy, only talk to him on the apps. Like you don't want to talk to him in person, you only talk to him on the apps because he a 3. But like just imagine you see somebody that fits everyone's mold. It's easy. Everyone approves. You get hyped. It feels like the world is on your side. Like this shit happens. It happened for me. It happened for me a few times. So, there's this question where does attraction and desirability begin? Because I think you know again my take is that attraction is biological but it's also personal, and I think that desirability is political. uh when the two overlap is when desirability, desire is influenced by what society tells you to be valid or wanted. And this is where we got to come to a part of learning to unlearn things, because again, yes, you cannot help what what you're attracted to. I agree. But you can start noticing when the systems are telling you that you need to be attracted to this. You need to be attracted to this because this is this. You need to be attracted to this because this is going to bring you value. This is going to bring you money. It's like there's like this pressure into it. And I think sometimes we just fall into it because even ourselves want to be validated. That's just the truth. Like some of we just want to be validated ourselves. So I think sometimes we attach ourselves to people because we want to be validated. We want that validation because, oh, if I attach myself to this very attractive person, I'm going to get the validation too. And that's the part that's kind of like, bro, like that's crazy to me. And I was sitting here just now though too, and I was thinking to myself like, how do I push back? How do we flip the script, right? And in my head, I'm like, okay, well, the first thing I would say is check your so-called preferences. I think checking your so-called preferences is a really big thing. Yes, we all got preferences, but when it comes to a point when preferences are telling you what to like, when your preferences are being motivated, I should say, by outside sources on what to like, that's not a preference anymore. It's just you're liking it because everybody else is liking it. You know what I'm saying? And I would say another thing too is like, you know, stop curating your life around what other people want. The point when you start making choices for yourself, because I've been learning this through therapy. The moment you start making choices for yourself, your life, your body, your mind, all these things, your joy, that's when things start happening for you, for real, for real. And another thing too is start showing love without conditions. love on your friends. For real, there are so many people out here with friends and still feel alone and feel lonely, and they have tons of friends. Show love without condition to your friends. This is very important to me. Love them, love their personality, show up for them, support them, do those things. And then the one that I'm about to say is probably fucking hard because it's hard for me too. Is that start trying to give attention to people that you may have, passed over. Not because you want to have sex with them, not because, you feel guilty or you feel bad, but because you want to find a real connection that is not the algorithm that is being built in your head by what's being fed to you. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's another thing too. Like I've gotten to a point where I sit at the bar with somebody that I'm not attracted to, that I don't like to, that I saw at the bar, and we was having a conversation, and it was a real good ass conversation. Even though it got to the point where I thought he thought like, oh, I wanted to have sex with him. It was kind of like, nah, let me steer it back because no, you actually seem like a cool person, and I understand how that happens too. But I think when we start, having those real conversations with people, we'll start finding connections with people, like real fucking connections. So maybe that's just how I'm thinking. And I mean, at the end of the day, like desirability politics are what they are. You know what I'm saying? It's like a mirror, I should say. Like it'll show us what the world values, and then sometimes it'll show us like our biases due to what we're being taught, without even knowing too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't control the game, right? You can only learn how to maneuver through that bitch. So it is what it is. It's just, I would say I'm going to challenge people to really start thinking about their own desires and think about how we are being programmed as folks. Um, it's a real thing. I mean, even myself, I really have been thinking about it a lot. I'm even going to have a conversation with my therapist about it next week. I just really want to think about this a lot now due to that show and just learning about desirability because I think it shows up in so many different areas of our lives, and the shit is exhausting, and it really does make people perform, make people code switch because we want to, you know, um, be a part of that that ranking system. Even though the ranking system is there, we want to be a part of that motherfucker because we want to excel. We want to have the things, the privileges that come along with that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm tired, y'all. So, Oop, look at me busting shit up. We are at the ending of the show. I want to say thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing. Um, listen to your boy on multiple streaming platforms. Oh, I did not even say that earlier. Did I say that? I'm gonna say it now. Please, if you do listen to me on Spotify, make sure you listen to me on there because this podcast is hosted by Spotify for creators. Okay, so please make sure you do that. All right. Um, Follow me on my social medias, which is the Real Doc Dre, Bubba's Banter podcast, and Bubba's Banter on Facebook. Again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like and share. Get me out there in the algorithm. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to my show for as long as you have been, or even watching it. I really do appreciate you guys for like paying attention to what the fuck I got to say, because I'm not this big fucking known podcaster, and I probably shouldn't say that. I should put it out in the algorithm that I am this big podcaster. I am this person because I do this shit. I'm on season 5, baby. You know what I'm saying? Some podcasts only last for like season 2. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this shit since the pandemic, and I just want to say thank you again from the bottom of my heart of everybody that has been supporting me because I really do appreciate that a lot. So, um, again, thank you. And I'll see y'all next week. Peace.